Good afternoon, everybody. You're here for Destination Employment, GPS to Job Success. Today we have Miss Irene Ramos and Miss Clarissa Meek. So with that said, I want to welcome our presenters. Our first presenter is Miss Irene Ramos. Irene Ramos has worked in the field of adult education since 1990. She was just a wee lad and has performed numerous roles in her career, ranging from instructor, career counselor, summer youth program coordinator, AL supervisor, staff development trainer, special projects coordinator, career navigator, instructional coach, and workforce center manager. And she currently is working at Education Service Center Region 2 as a program manager for Crossroads Adult Education, where she works alongside a strong team of hardworking professionals dedicated to helping her guide others towards success. Ms. Ramos lives in Poteet, Texas, where she was born and raised, and where she served as a city council member and as mayor. So she received her bachelor's from Our Lady of the Lake in San Antonio, Texas, and her doctorate of jurisprudence from St. Mary's School of Law in San Antonio, Texas. So she has a passion for holistic education of adults that starts from a place of genuine caring and hopes to share her passion with others adult education providers. So welcome, Ms. Ramos. And we also have Clarissa Meek. So Clarissa, she earned her bachelor's in TESOL for Brigham Young University in Hawaii. She is experienced in IET, HSE, and ESL. And she's currently learning the ropes as a career navigator. I think she knows it. She's just trying to be modest and saying she's learning, but she has got it down. And she loves to travel, hike, and spend time with her family. So welcome, Ms. Ramos and Ms. Meek, and you are up.
Thank you so much. And we are so excited to share a little bit about our program and some of the things that we have done to build success in our program. Like Dr. Escamilla was saying, we have Irene Ramos, who is our program director, and I am Clarissa Meek. I'm a career navigator, and just super excited to share everything that we have and some of the things that we've worked really hard to develop.
Thank you, Clarissa. You know, I can't say enough good things about our team. So if I start glowing, it's that sort of mom moment that I experienced with my wonderful team, and Clarissa being someone who has been just proven to be just an amazing talent that joined our team. So thank you for that. And yes, it really is. I want to welcome everybody, and I just want to tell you how great it is to be presenting once again, seeing everybody that's coming in, Kelly and Debbie and Erica, and all of you wonderful people, Bill, that it's been a while, and Anne Marie and everybody. Just seeing all of you guys here in this session is just wonderful to be here training again. This topic is definitely near and dear to my heart, as you'll hear, and as many of you can relate, that helping to guide others to find a career, that truly is the calling of adult educators. It gets to a lot of answers for people. Our goals today are to demonstrate how Crossroads will build workforce relationships, the program components that we do, and how it can be replicated in any program, as well as, what are the moving parts? How do we do this? How do you go about? We're going to give you some real, our goal, of course, is to give you some workable information that you can replicate in your program if you feel like you need to build better workforce relationships. Everything can always use improvement. It's very cyclical. We have ebbs and flows. The program components, it's a living product that we put out. Our product will change as the society's needs change, as our customers' needs change. We will continually keep updating. Again, our goal to demonstrate how Crossroads build workforce relationships, how it can be replicated in any program, and review the components of what we call the road to success for our participants, and how the importance of building strategic partnerships with key stakeholders in your area is critical.
Great. So we are going to get started with a Zoom poll. So today we're talking all about employability and building those skills within our students and the people that we serve in AEL. And so we want to start just with a reflective poll on how do you feel about yourself in this? In this area, would you describe yourself as a novice? So someone who's maybe just starting out in this field, maybe you've been really focused in earning their HSCs or their ESLs, and you're not really sure how that fits into this overall employment. Are you somewhere right in the middle? Are you proficient? Do you understand the role of employment and providing that in our program and the skills that we have? Or are you someone who you think is an expert? You've got this and you're implementing these things in your program. There's of course always things to learn, but where do you think you are in this? Sometimes I feel like I am just a novice. I have been in adult ed for a couple years now. This is my first time as a career navigator. And so I've definitely learned so much over the past few months and have really looked to the people who I saw doing this well before at the programs I was at. So we're going to give this just a couple more seconds, and most of you guys have chimed in. It seems like as things are coming in, we're right. We've got most of you guys in the middle, a couple that are novices that would love to learn more about how to put this in your program. Most of us are right in the middle. And then a few of you who are experts, and we are so grateful that you're in this room and just to hear from you and look forward to hearing your answers in the chat as we all share strategies that are working for us exactly where we line up. And this is probably true, I would say, across the field, that we're all learning constantly and looking for things that are working in other programs. And so I'm going to turn it over to Miss Ramos, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about Crossroads itself and how she and her team built that program up.
Okay. Well, thank you, Clarissa. It is so good to see that we have people with good knowledge, good knowledge base here. We want to definitely engage your knowledge base, and we certainly will come from a place of knowing. And those people that are experts here, we will lean on you for some good interaction. And of course, if you're just learning, again, that's a great position to take. And I, just like you, Clarissa, I like to consider myself a student of life, always learning something. There's got to be something to learn every time. And so some of you may know me already. A lot of you know me already, but I'm going to fill you in a bit on my background and the background of this program in particular. Okay, and I'm currently a part of this wonderful team working alongside so many talented people. And I've been in adult education since 1990 when I started in the very first computer learning center in Atascosa County in a workforce center. So yes, I was about 10 years old. Just kidding, little joke there. When I started working in adult ed, LOL, and I've been simultaneously working in adult education and in workforce. I know it seems impossible, doesn't it? 30 years passes by so quick. So for the past 30 years, I've done a lot. I've worn a lot of hats in adult ed and in workforce simultaneously. Coming from this sort of past, I've been a workforce center manager, summer youth employment training manager, adult ed supervisor, adult ed trainer for many years. All this experience came in very handy when I got the opportunity to start this program from nothing. And I mean like bare bones, nothing, from the ground up. And on the first day that I started here, I was given a gift. One of the ladies here, that she's no longer here, regrettably, her name was Melanie. She was, everybody's coming over and they're setting up my computer and my phone and everything. She goes, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to send you some emails, and one of them's your logo." I said, "We already have a logo?" She said, "Yeah, you already have a logo." And so, I mean, so we did start this program for nothing, but kind of not, because we were given this wonderful gift of this logo. And I'm going to tell you, hopefully during this training, you'll understand why that was so critical and important. But again, it truly was a gift that provided the opportunity that I needed to rebrand adult ed. And so starting from the bottom, I had to think about it. If you had to start up an adult ed program and it was just you and a phone and a desk, what would you do? So, that was me. And so having to think from the perspective of a student or someone wanting education, either high school equivalency, language, basic skills gap completion, training, college, what do I need to do? And so from there on, build from the very beginning. How can I build a program? How can we all together as a team build a program out that provides good, solid information that addresses barriers, that helps an individual do self-discovery, that assesses their educational levels, just every scaffolded from the very beginning up. So it was a really, really great opportunity to start fresh, a new program that addresses all the needs. Again, that logo provided me with that opportunity. Now I was able to rebrand Adult Ed. It's like, hey, who's the adult ed provider in your area in the Coastal Bend? Crossroads. That's where we meet our students. I loved it. The tendency is for individuals to come to our door that have been, I mean, they knew they needed education. What drew them in at that moment? Some kind of a loss or a shakeup or something. Either they were compelled to by court, or they're coming in because they had a divorce, illness, a death. You know, they're having a child. You know, their kids are finally all grown up, empty nesting. Whatever it is that had put them on that transition curve, we needed to get the word out to those people because we know the need is here. The other thing was, of course, creating those partnerships and getting the word out about Crossroads to them. It's like, hey, here we are to meet the students at the crossroads of their life, to help them, connect them to you. We've identified their barriers. Now we need to have partners where we can have our classes, get referrals, get the word out. So those partnerships were critical. And of course, locating those sites where we would be out in we serve an 11 county area all around here in the Coastal Bend, and it's a wide area. Like many of you who are in South Texas know, man, you got to cover a broad swath of area. So, you know, when you need to rebrand, it was an opportunity to rebrand Adult Ed in the Coastal Bend region. But where do you start? You know, you're there from nothing. So like any startup, we had to take the program, you know, out of the car, you know, pulling it out of the driveway onto the street and get it rolling so that we can be a part of the race. Because guess what? Those measures came in as part of our accountability to the state. We had to start meeting measures right away. We had to start classes in August. We had to, you know, start enrolling, and you know what all those measures are. So we had our bends in the road, our curves, our long, fast movement. We had our challenges too, and there were bumps and curves and even potholes. But here in our third year, we knew that it was time to focus on the complete quality program. And that's been our focus, quality. And this is something that we repeated all our meetings. With that came our accountability loop. And so we developed the accountability loop for setting out expectations, setting in definitive action for them staff. What happened when you took that action, and then giving feedback and reassessing it at every turn to make sure that everything we did was quality. So holding everyone accountable is critical to the quality and success that we're seeking for our participants. So that's our background, a little bit about real quick about the program, because really it's a lengthy story, but trying to scaffold from the beginning, our opportunity to rebrand, and then of course launching our accountability loop.
Thank you so much. You know, I joined the program just this past year, and it was an unusual story to hear of a program being so recently built. And the team here at Crossroads really did a wonderful job of building this program from the ground up with these specific goals in mind. And so this is kind of where we want to talk about a little bit more about some things that have worked and some components of our program and of our relationship building that has worked really well. And so the first thing that we want to talk about is strengthening your workforce partnership. Because Ms. Ramos had this unique position of having such a history in workforce, she's super familiar with how it works and the people to contact. We really were and continue to include them as such a big part of our program. It really is, like it says on the screen, the fuel that keeps your program moving. This is our goal, is to help these students. A lot of our students come in like most of you guys, they say, I want a GED, or I want a better life. And it's our job to say, this is, we change that by meeting your employment goals. This is how we get that better life. Here are some career paths that are in demand in the Corpus Christi area. Here are companies that are investing in these trainings, and that goes so much with our partnership with Workforce. So we do want to hear from you guys. So in the chat, we're going to give you a couple of minutes. We would love to know, what tactics have you used to strengthen your relationship with your local workforce? So please take some time. We learn from each other. Take some time, and we would love to hear in the chat, what is working for you? I'm sure we could probably all get together and talk about what's not working. We share a lot of those same frustrations, but what is working right now for you, for your program, and the students that you serve?
Don't be shy. I'll be waiting. Okay, Mr. Martinez. Oh, Mr. Martinez says monthly meetings with Workforce Solutions Borderplex. So monthly meetings.
Wonderful. We're going to talk about ours as well, and it just opens that line of communication. In order to, we can't work with them if we don't know who they are. So we've got to meet together, and so that we can really align our goals.
We also have, Andrea says, sharing flyers with local employers and Workforce Solutions offices. And Guillermo says, bringing them into our virtual classes. And Ms. Moya says, pre-COVID, arrange breakfast meetings, loop them in email communications, and invite them to events. And Catherine says, also pre-COVID, we used to present at local workforce and introduce ourselves. Awesome.
Wonderful. Those are all such good ideas. I love the pre-COVID idea of feed them and they will come. We've just got to do what we can to build these relationships. The workforce is such a great resource. The team here at Crossroads, we are constantly relying on them and their funding and their knowledge and the resources that they have to offer. So we're going to tell you a little bit, and most of these were mentioned in the chat. So for those of you that maybe aren't implementing some of these things, we're going to tell you exactly what we've done. And Ms. Ramos can really chime in on how she got that started, because this is such a new thing. You know, she was new to the Crossroads area. She's a San Antonio girl, or from Poteet, actually. So, you know, she really did have to build these relationships from the ground up.
Yeah, thank you, Clarissa. Yes. So we had to ask ourselves, how do we get this momentum going? You know, we've backed the car out of the driveway and now we're on the road. And how do we build the momentum so we pick up some speed? Because things move very fast. You know, before you know it, you're in your second quarter, performance is due. And so, yes, a lot of the things that you mentioned, absolutely, they're your go-tos. We started out from the onset. Crossroads staff met regularly with workforce board and contract staff. And so in our formative months, it was a challenge because we were spread very thin and our staff was very small. It was me and a coordinator. And then in September, we hired another coordinator, and hiring was very slow here. So, you know, we're here running this full-blown program with a staff of three, full-time staff, and a couple of temps, and then 10 teachers. And so, and hiring teachers was really slow going too. And so we were still building this vehicle as we were trying to make our way down the road, adding parts to it. But we did have those meetings. We kept working together monthly with the board staff and with the contract staff. But here, and of course we shared flyers. We would bring them into our orientations and into our mapping. Our mapping is our comprehensive assessment class, student success classes you'll hear from Clarissa. We did all those wonderful things. But in our third year, we connected with Mr. Rick Zamariba. There was a new contract staff coming in, a new company, C2 GPS. And on that contract side, we met and decided, you know what, we're going to separate our meetings from the board at this time. And what we asked the board, do you agree that at the board level, you guys, we can have our meetings once a quarter? But we really want to strengthen the connections with the boots on the ground, the people in the workforce office. We're going to meet with them every 2 weeks. So what we do now is every 2 weeks, we meet with that contract staff, with center managers, with case managers, with the youth service managers, anybody that's in an office that has participants that we share, common participants. We meet with them, and we every 2 weeks in those meetings. And we want to continue to build that, because what's going to happen is we're working towards that co-enrollment model. but we're building it very carefully because we got to make sure that we're getting the referrals across, referrals to them and from them. So again, now we meet with the board once a quarter and update them on everything that we have. And the contractor, we meet every 2 weeks. But in this way, we keep the board staff apprised of updates and continue to build our co-enrollment case management structure with Workforce Solutions of the Coastal Band as we meet with those boots on the ground, case managers, line staff that's providing referrals and whom we refer participants to in that warm handoff
Yes,
referral.
ma'am. So, like she was saying, our referral process is really a big part of our program. We are always working on this, trying to smooth it out, trying to really, like Ms. Ramos was saying, co-enrollment would be our goal there. We're getting there. It's a relationship. There's often a lot of change of staff. So we're often having to meet new people. Those bi-monthly meetings with our case managers have proved to be really fruitful. We have seen definitely an uptick in case managers emailing us and saying, hey, these are the youth that I had referred to your program. Can you tell me what's going on with them? So currently our referral system, we have a JOT form that all of our partners use to refer. That is tracked by a data clerk, and that information is shared directly with the, and Ms. Ramos, I think it's the site coordinators. So
Yes.
they know who is referring. We talk to the site coordinators. We are often in communication with them, and they've instructed their staff to refer anyone who is lacking or has a skills need to Crossroads, and we get to provide that accountability loop to close that by providing them with these are the actual referrals that we are getting from. These are the case managers who are taking the time, who are registering their students on site, and we share that in the bi-monthly meetings, just in hopes to say, hey, it's always nice. It's easy to say, yeah, I'll do it. And then it's nice to know that someone's checking on that. Right now, for referring to workforce, we do it a couple different ways. Our main way is we send a sheet just to their site coordinator, and she's the one who hands out that information. Depending on the location, our students do come from such a large area. And then the last piece of that is shared information. And I know some of you guys mentioned this, and definitely it's a huge piece. So we have reciprocal presentations. I'll talk a little bit more about our mapping class and that, but we invite workforce in. They present to all of our new students. They have the opportunity to share their program, to get some face time with them, and we do the same for them, sharing that with their new participants, making sure that they are aware of who we are. We are always updating flyers, sending out new trainings, and this is really a great source of recruitment for us. I know everyone across the state is worried about enrollment numbers, and we have really been able to rely on our workforce partnership. They are, outside of word of mouth, they are number one source of recruitment of new students. And so anything we can do just to strengthen that relationship, we do a lot for them, and they absolutely pick up the bill on a lot of things, a lot of our trainings, and have such great resources for us. And we just really do what we can to strengthen that relationship.
So this great quote that Clarissa came up with really embodies what we've been through here. Coming together as a team, and that's how we start off. Keeping things together and moving them forward towards progress, and then working together truly this embodies that, again, that accountability loop that we've been able to build and to work in progress. So to keep if you have a car that you've bought, or if you've built a car, then maintenance, as you know, is a continuing, ongoing thing. But I believe this quote really says it all, that when you have a goal to succeed in adult education, it is built on the shoulders of the success of the students, really, truly. So what a wonderful task we have to ensure the success of someone, to ensure our own success. When we all do better, we all do better. So Thank you for that
Absolutely.
quote, Clarissa.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit more, and I'll let Miss Ramos introduce this next section, but we are going to tell you more about our program. I'm sure that's what we all want to hear.
Yes, the other shoe will drop, I promise. But before we get there, of course, what it means to design a program with workforce in mind, and this, of course, is the mission. This is directly out of what the adult education, like what programs do, and if you really disaggregate this, and look at the resident parts of it, then you see this is our charge. Taking each one of these callings to fill in that employability gap and that education gap and the skills gaps that exist for individuals, so they can find a quality of life that they feel like sometimes is outside their reach. But as I stated before, my background working simultaneously in adult ed and workforce has given me a good perspective on how to best help students achieve their goals, obtain a career that provides a good quality of life and opportunity for advancement. So we as providers of basic skills education must keep in mind that all the content should be presented in a manner that's relevant to real life. It's the application of content in work-related context that makes a good framework for embedding employability into any curriculum. So it's those connections made when teaching that builds a mindset of employability. From orientation to comprehensive assessment and into instruction, Crossroads strives to always connect learning to the outcomes of career and job.
Absolutely. I can't help but think of just earlier, a couple months ago in the Taylor training, I was in Liz Moya's session, and she talked about the study that she did, and they talked about why adults leave and why they stay. And they stay because they have identified that this education is an essential component to their career. They are looking to push their career forward. And so we want to gear just everything that we have, making sure we're always including that employment component, because that is if we can keep our students focused on this, it's tough what we're asking them to do, completing their HSE, these other trainings, it's tough, but if we can keep them focused on, this is going to have a direct impact on your life, on your family's life, and your ability to support them, we can see a lot more results there. And so we're going to tell you a little bit about our program, and this program that was definitely designed with employment in mind. It is the goal from the get-go. I always heard here at Crossroads that we want our students to earn their HSE and get a job. Those two things are what we're really going to consider markers of success. So I'll tell you, I know a lot of these components are things that you guys have in your current programs. And so I'll give you a peek of what we're doing as well. So our orientation, of course, it's a comprehensive and career-focused session. From the very beginning of orientation, it is, I think, the second slide of our orientation, is we start priming our students for employment. We want them to know this is where we are. This is our goals as a program. That a lot of our students, like most of y'all, come because we're the GED program, and we do our best to let them know that yes, we will absolutely help you with those academic skills that are necessary to earn your high school equivalency, but we need that to lead somewhere. And what is that somewhere? And so from the beginning, we talk about it. We talk about exactly what their employment goals are, focusing in on our purpose, that we want to help students succeed in the workforce. We let them know that this is our measure of success, that we need these students to do well. That I always say, we want you to leave our program earning more money than when you walked in the door. And that really is our goal. That's how we want to, that's such a definitive way to change people's lives, is in these employment goals. And then we also let them know that we follow up on their employment outcomes. I'll tell you a little bit more about how we do those employment outcomes. It is a state requirement, and I'll share a little bit more about them, but we do let them know from orientation that we will continue to support them even once they're not our students anymore, that they still have access, of course, to the things of our program and to the resources that we have through our partnerships. So one unique piece that is here at Crossroads is we have a mapping for student success class. This is a prerequisite class. All of our HSC, IET, and our ESL students attend this class. So in our program, we go through orientation, assessment, and then everyone takes this mapping for student success class. It changes, and we are always changing it to meet the needs of our students. Currently, it is 4 days, so that once you complete your assessment, you attend a 4-day class, and it is a really great opportunity to fulfill a lot of the requirements that we've been given, and to really get our students to focus on employment and let them know how serious we are about this. It also is a 12-hour class, which those of you that are program administrators know that 12 is a magic number. They very quickly become participants in our program, and that definitely helps and gets them engaged. Our mapping teachers they picked the best in the mapping, and they are all just, your warm welcome. They are connecting immediately with these students. They're all really talented teachers, and really making our students feel like they've got a home. A lot of our curriculum that we draw from, they're all career-focused activities. We use a lot of the integrating career awareness into the ABE and ESOL classroom as a resource, which I'm sure most of you are using often. If you're not, that is a great place to start. If that is something that isn't in your program right now, I would really suggest that as a resource. It's got some just pre-built lessons that are just wonderful. This is also in mapping class. We have presentations. We have people from workforce come and present. They talk about current programs that they have. That it's an opportunity for the students to ask questions. There's a lot of students that don't know about workforce or even what that is, so it's a great moment for them. We also do a full overview of all of our IETs that we have that are upcoming that our students might be interested in. I'm sure, like y'all, we come and they say, oh, it's a GED program, and it's really a great opportunity just to educate them and say, yes, once again, we are going to help you earn that HSE, but there's more. We're not done with you at that point. We want to help you in more ways. And so all of our students kind of have the opportunity to sign up for those things. It's also where we get students involved in our distance learning. So it really is, there's so many components to this mapping for student success class, so many things that happen in that 12 hours. They also build their ITech plan, and we do class placement and one-on-one interviews. So this piece right here, I felt like was so unique when I got to Crossroads, and really helped me just as a staff member understand, oh, Crossroads, we're serious about employment. We're so, this is the goal here, and let's talk about all the things we can do to get our students to that point. Moving on from mapping, our students are placed into classes. And as a career navigator, so like I've said, this is a new role for me. I've leaned heavily on, especially Nadine from Victoria College has answered some panicky phone calls from me, and has really, they're watching other people do it and figuring this out. One thing I do like to do that works really well is, of course, I'm always very involved in our students. I always say I'm the full-time staff in charge of students. We've got staff that's in charge of teachers and staff in charge of testing, and I'm the one who's in charge of all of our students. And one thing that's been really helpful is in continuing to build those relationships. We are in this digital world, and we don't have an office for our students to go walk by anymore. As I pop into classes, especially when I was first getting started, it was my way to build relationships. I'm a part of mapping and orientation, but this was just a way to build it with students that were already there. So I go into classes. I always have an announcement or something that I want to share with students. I've done presentations on GED and HiSET testing literacy. As you all know, there's a lot that's changed with that, educating our students on the difference between online proctored and in-person testing, a lot about our HSE vouchers, which has been a program that's gone so well. I present on those and help our students use those and access that, as well as we do IET recruitments. So it's never very long. It's usually 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes it turns into a lot longer of a conversation because students have questions and they don't know they had questions until they had someone in front of them. And so it is just such a great opportunity for me to continue to check in on our classes and make sure that employment is staying at the forefront, that yes, this algebra concept you're learning is really tough, but here's the reason why. We want you to pass this and get into that apprenticeship program or just whatever it is that's next. And then the last piece that I want to share is with follow-up. So specifically, we follow the statewide model of following up with the employment outcomes of our students. This is a newer requirement from the state, and so as our students have exited, we want to know some specific things about them. These are measures of our own success. We want to know if they've completed their HSE, if they have a job and can support that with a verified source, and if they're enrolled in a college or career training program. These conversations are tough to have sometimes, but sometimes they go really well, and I'm able to gather all this information from them. Sometimes it's tougher, and what it has really provided is a great opportunity to re-engage students that haven't been able to meet their goals. Just because they've exited from our program, we still care about them. We still want them to meet those goals, and these follow-up phone calls to these students have really provided a wonderful opportunity just to re-engage and to continually support. And they've often turned into, well, have you tried this? Have you thought about this? Some of them haven't earned that HSC that was their original goal, and saying, well, can we get you back in the program? But it is just such a great way to support them, and really taking care of our students from orientation all the way to follow up, and making sure that they know that maybe you're not our student anymore, but we still want to see you with that better job, and in those programs that are going to get you there. So these are just a parts of our program that are working well for us, making sure our orientation is career focused, making sure we have that mapping class that is so wonderful that we'd love to share more about that if y'all are interested in, and is such a tool for success, continually supporting our students and then following up with them and making sure that employment stays at the forefront of that. And so as we move on,
there was a couple of comments, but Nancy had said, this was early on, what is the one-on-one interview?
Sure. So our one-on-one interview is, it takes place at the end of mapping class. They meet with either a career navigator or our supervisors, and they discuss their goals and their IET interest. And then that's also when we look at their assessments and place them into classes. Okay.
And then Nadine asked, I would like to hear more about and how you implement this prerequisite with the ESL students.
Sure.
Yeah,
so go ahead, Ms. Ramos.
Yeah, I kind of answered that in the chat, because that's a very good question, because we did start out with this mapping for the HSC students. However, immediately we recognized that we had to assist the ESLs. It was not going to work with them. And so I sent the outline, the scope and sequence, to Sherry Kesnell with Burlington English, which that's our curriculum for our ESL classes. And so she sent back what she had in the system. And so we use as a foothold for providing those same items like you would see in that ICA lessons. Those exist in Burlington English. And so we use that scope and sequence built out further by a team that took a lot of care to replicate that in for the non-English speakers. So you have to be very careful, because not everyone's a Spanish speaker. And so using Burlington English provides us a curriculum that mirrors what is being done in the HSE mapping, but also, assists those individuals who are non-English speakers who need that English language skill. So that's how we handle that. Everything else is the same. Of course, there's a different progress, baseline progress. The orientation is obviously going to be, a different orientation that is facilitated. And the structure really is different too. We have orientations that are separate for HSE and ESL, but the ESL is done in a whole week. So where we do the HSE the week before, the Wednesday before, and then we have to do the testing for people before they get into their mapping assignment. Then with the ESL, it all happens starting on a Monday orientation, which flows through to testing, which has been, it's not been an easy move. But then that leads into the very next day, them coming into their ESL mapping, which is only 3 days versus the 4 days that exist right now for the other mapping. So I hope that answered the question. We have people who have wonderful hearts of caring in this program, all of them being such caring nurturers. They all care so much about the students. And that's part of that success, building that roadmap to success, that it grew out of the desire to, help individuals, that we care so much about students.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. Now there's one more question. Do you share the mapping results with the teachers? And if so, what's the format of sharing that information?
Well, believe that all that is transparent and in the Google Drive, but Clarissa would probably have more information.
No, yes, you are correct. It is all in the Google Drive. We, of course, our teachers are aware that they're there. We are always looking at ways to improve that and to help our teachers see that bigger picture. Sometimes that can be a tough thing as teachers, and I absolutely was a teacher, and so I understand we are very focused on academic skills and sometimes lose sight of that bigger employment goal. And so, sharing that ITech plan is definitely something that we are always trying to put at the forefront for our teachers.
Okay, and one more question. How do you do mapping, the mapping class, if your student has a full-time job?
We offer that AM and PM.
Yep.
And we're very flexible with them. So it's an online program that we do, because everything right now we're doing is virtual. So Clarissa, I mean, you can add to that, but we allow a lot of flexibility. So if a student has their schedule and they can only come, like, let's say Monday and Wednesday, then they can make up the time the following week if they make adjustments with and they usually do with their employer and say, okay, well, I need to come in Tuesday, Thursday, but we have AM and PM mapping. So it usually works out just fine.
Yeah. It does. Yeah, we are very, very flexible, like Ms. Ramos was saying, with a morning and an evening mapping time. And we find that if students have that expectation set in front of them and they know that this is something that they need to do, and like I said, it is a prerequisite to getting into any of our other classes. So, and they enjoy it. They really do. They enjoy being there. It's a really fun atmosphere. And a lot of that has to do with the staff that's involved in creating that. So.
How often do you offer the mapping course? And then can you provide
weekly.
A copy of your ITech plan? Weekly?
Every week. Think about mapping. Enrollment. You have a class and people having to go through it. So there's AM that is every 2 weeks.
Because of the demand, we don't have a bigger as much of a demand in the morning, so that one's only every 2 weeks. But
good point, exactly. Yeah. And so the PM is the high demand peak time, and so that one we provide a mapping every week in order to keep up with the demand and the enrollment. And so again, that's a work in progress too, because we're going to consider for the coming year piping that out as a hybrid so that we can do that out in our rural areas, and just in that way we expand our reach. But then also the ESL is every other week, and it is done every other. 1 week is AM and the following week is PM. I want to ask everybody, I hope that's it. Olga, do we have any other?
Well, there was one about, can you provide a copy of your ITech plan? And one of the things that I was going to share in the chat is that we asked that career navigators share their ITech plan in the career pathways community of practice. So
I was about to say, there is a whole forum of you can peek at everybody's everybody's yeah. ITech plans, and it is really helpful. I don't know if I've uploaded our ITech plan there, but I'll definitely try to do that after this.
Thank you. And that's in the Career Pathways Community of Practice in the PD portal. So go ahead and continue. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, I want y'all to think about too, like, so, again, we've talked about relations with workforce and, oh, wait a minute, before we go there, what, have you ever looked up training in your area, right? Have you ever looked up training in your area? And I want you guys to answer in the chat, who does all the workforce training in your area? And we'll do this really quickly, because I know if you're not sure, just write, I don't know. But I'm sure you know who the training providers are in your chat right there. Type it in there. Who does the training in your area?
College, says Lisa.
Yeah.
Great. College, yes. In our area, we have Del Mar College, we have Coastal Bend College, we have private companies and contract with ACC. That's right. At Austin Community College, you can contract with a private company. There are a lot of opportunities there, maybe Certiport or with Edigo or other companies that do training. Anything else? Because our goal is, it depends on what branch of workforce employability we do in-house. Yeah, you can do it yourself. So that's Bill, you're way ahead of me, Bill. Our goal is that when people go in and search for training, that among those things that come up when they search, they hit on Crossroads. Like, where can I get training in my area? Crossroads is one of them. So that's our goal, that when people are interested in training, that they're going to come to us. But there's a lot more training happening in our area, but we should have our finger on the pulse of everything that's happening as regards to workforce training. So how do we build that out? Okay, so as we talked about those relationships with workforce, the importance of garnering those referrals, those common customers. We have so many other roads that connect us with our local workforce. And one is the information that they provide about the local labor force and understanding our community. That's primary. You got to know your community. Who's doing the training out there? The in-demand job careers, what are the hot jobs? This data provides Crossroads with directions as to what training will yield a good job opportunity, a career for students or participants once they've been trained. And maybe, just like you guys mentioned in the chat, maybe we're going to provide that training ourselves. Maybe we're going to contract out and be that trainer, or hire a teacher, or work with the Kate centers, here at the local schools. Whatever is in your community, that's you need to understand what you're working with in your local community. But it gives you program insight into the community so you can better understand the gaps that needs to be filled through training. Again, that global pandemic was terrible, to be sure, but as a result of that increase in our electronic means of communication, our team, it has increased in transparency, and our communication is so much better for it. We meet every morning at 8 a.m. daily and debrief what's going on, what's happening today, what's our big moves. Every morning we share daily goals, accomplishments, as well as providing an opportunity to address challenges and immediately revamp those SOPs as needed. But this in turn creates a new level of transparency that's taken our team's communication to the next level. And that keeps us in that quality, that high quality program. So the pandemic was terrible, but we've grown for it. People don't like change. People do love change. That's what I was telling everybody. People love change. They just don't know it yet. Clarissa?
Absolutely. And so as we come to a close here, one thing we really want to stress, that when you are looking at increasing your employability skills in your students, that we keep this kind of quote and this mind frame, that nothing's particularly hard if you divide it into small jobs. So much of what Crossroads and the success that they've been able to have has been from building relationships with workforce and in their IET partners. And then, of course, enrolling those program components. And so just as we cross the finish line of this presentation, we just want you to keep those things in mind, that employment really is our focus, that yes, we are here to make up academic skills deficiencies and to help people learn that language, but let's do something more for them. We've got more things to offer. These are absolutely making these things our goals. And for our program, and the things that have worked have been building those workforce relationships. Once again, our program components. And I think we are always adjusting and shifting and helping our students and figuring out what works, but really making those our focus, is that employment is our focus there. And then, of course, building our partnerships in the community. They do a great job here at Crossroads. Our program coordinators do of fostering those relationships and of making sure that people know that we're there, and that of what we're offering, and how can we help each other, and to build those things together. And so we've got just one last question for you about what you can do to increase employability skills in your students. What's your takeaways here? Just in the next few minutes, we'd love to hear what's something that you feel like you could do. No one's suggesting we redesign your programs, but what small focused changes could we make to our programs about how can we make this a bigger focus? How can we see a greater result in our students, both our ESL and our HSE, and of course those IET students?
Those things do happen one bite at a time. They absolutely do. And with everyone owning.
Okay, so we have Andrea says, start discussing employment goals more in GED and ESL orientations. The focus is a little too academic. Awesome.
Great point. That's exactly on point, ma'am. You know, content needs to be contextual, and that's how we start from the first interaction. Absolutely. Yes.
Carol agrees with Andrea.
Absolutely.
And Trey says, incorporate employability skills into all curriculum.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Martinez,
Contextualization.
yeah, Mr. Martinez says, personalize our services to participant goals. Awesome.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Andy says, making sure I remain aware of the job trends in my community and keep our students educated about it too. Ooh, that's great.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
And Nadine says, ask the why questions. Why do you want a GED and to learn English?
Perfect. Get to the why. I love it. Awesome.
Okay. And Andrea says, standout textbooks for ESL have contextualized workplace lessons level basic 5.
Yes. There's
Oh
a
my
lot
gosh,
of
I love
printed
standout.
curriculum. Yeah, that has that transitions work to do. So excellent. All excellent points. Well, thank you guys. Very interactive.
Well, and thank you so much. Just as we come to a close, and thanks for letting us share a little bit more about our program, and we hope you're able to take some of these things away with you. If you have any questions, you're welcome to email us at crossroads@esc2.us if you'd like more information about that or anything. Ms. Ramos, do you have any closing thoughts?
Well, yeah, on behalf of all the Crossroads team, because we've made up of a whole slew of people that just work so hard. Christy Kitchen, Felicia Clute, Paul Burke, Laura Barrera, all our supervisors, coordinators, clerks. I would like to thank you all for what all of you guys, all you participants in here do. Everybody watching, everybody in adulthood in the state, what you do, that guidance, that educational skill development, your work is important. So do not ever doubt that you can make a difference in the lives of our participants, their parents, and their children too. And thank you, Dr. Escamilla. Thank you, Anne Marie. Thank you, Laura Greer, for the opportunity to present and for recognizing that this amazing career navigator, Ms. Clarissa Meek.
Thank you so much, Clarissa, and
thank you,
Irene, so much for sharing the information about the Crossroads program. You are going to drive to new levels.
Oh
so
gosh, thank you.
Thank you
Driving
so
to new
much.
heights, huh?
Yeah, driving up.
Thank you,
yes.
Risa.